Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Handlebar ASMR. For this episode, I'm actually going to be sharing with you some strange facts that I found on the internet. Hopefully they're all true. They came from a pretty verified site, so I'm trusting that they're true, but they're just interesting, different little fun facts that you may or may not have known. So I'm a big fan of weird facts, and you never know when it's gonna come in handy on Jeopardy, right? So why don't we get started? Almost 163,000 pints of Guinness are wasted in facial hair each year. An actual research study commissioned by Guinness found that an estimated 162,719 pints of Irish stout go to waste every year via mustaches. The study found that 0.56 milliliters of Guinness is trapped in the ordinary beard or mustache with each sip. And I have to say, this thing could probably drink about 4 times that amount. It's not your ordinary mustache. And it takes about 10 sips to finish a pint. An estimated 92,370 Guinnesses consumers every year in the UK have facial hair, figuring they consume on average 180 pints each year. The total cost of wasted Guinness annually is about $536,000. The moral of the story: shave and shave. That's not the moral of the story, folks. Grow and grow, and then you get to smell Guinness all day. Fact number 2. The chicken came before the egg. What came first, the chicken or the egg? Astrophysicist Stephen Hawking believed it was the egg that came first, but in 2010, British scientists claimed to have come up with the final answer. They identified the protein ovallectin 17 that is required to speed up the production of an eggshell within the chicken. In 24 hours, an egg is ready to be laid. This proves that the egg cannot be produced without a chicken, so therefore, the chicken had to come first. Adult cats only meow at humans, not at other cats. If you have a chatty catty, then you're well aware of the fact that cats like to strike up a conversation with their human companions, whether they want to be fed or just looking for some extra attention. But you're probably less likely to see your feline friend interacting the same way with another cat. That's because other than kittens meowing at their mothers, cats don't meow at other cats. You're more likely to get a computer virus from visiting religious sites than porn sites. I have a guest on stage today. I'll be right back. Now that our guest has been shown to the safety of the outside, let's continue our lesson for today. You're more likely to get a computer virus from visiting religious sites than porn sites. According to research from security firm Symantec, religious websites carry 3 times more malware threats than pornography sites. Symantec found that the average number of security threats on religious sites was around 115, compared to adult content sites, which carried around 25. In fact, only 2.4% of adult sites were infected with malware. The researchers hypothesized that's because porn sites need to generate a so there's a financial interest in keeping them virus-free to encourage repeat business. Paper bags can be worse for the environment than plastic ones. Every time we go to the grocery store, we are faced with the same choice: paper or plastic. It has become common notion that the former is the better choice. In fact, stores like Whole Foods have completely banned plastic bags. However, both paper and plastic have their drawbacks. According to research, paper bag production emits 70% more pollution, uses 4 times as much energy, and takes more time to break down when compared to plastic bags. Guess the best option is to carry reusable bags. A cloud can weigh more than 1,000,000 pounds. Clouds are not as light and fluffy as they seem. In fact, researchers have found that a single cloud weighs about 1.1 million pounds. How do they know? Well, that number is calculated by taking the water density of a cloud and multiplying it by its volume. Fortunately, the cloud can still float, and at that weight, because the air below is even heavier. Grooves in the road on Route 66 play America the Beautiful. New Mexico's Department of Transportation decided to spice up a desolate quarter-mile stretch of Route 66 between Albuquerque and Tijeras. Grooves were added in the road that play music when you drive over them, going the speed limit of 45 miles per hour. The grooves work just like the rumble strips, which vibrate your car if you drift out of the lane. These particular strips are positioned to create a different pitches when you drive over them, and if you do, you can clearly hear America the Beautiful play through the vibrations in your car wheels. The Queen owns all the swans in England. According to British law, any unclaimed swan swimming in open waters of England and Wales belong to the Queen. The law originated in medieval times when swans were a delicacy for the wealthy, but it still stands today. Queen Elizabeth II also upholds a centuries-old tradition with the swans. Every year during the 3rd week of July, all the swans in the river Thames are counted for the Queen in a practice called swan-upping. Blood donors in Sweden receive a text when their blood is used. To encourage more young people to donate blood, the university in Gothenburg, Sweden sends a text to donors when their blood has been dispersed to someone in need. A common issue with blood donation, along with other types of charitable donations, is that the donor doesn't know the recipient. It is harder to convince them that donating is beneficial. But with this system, which started in 2012, potential donors in Sweden have proof that their contribution is going to good use. And I really actually like that idea. Like, I know I donate blood, but you often wonder, wow, we have another guest on set. I guess I have a new bunch of fans. I'll be right back again. Okay, I'm back again. You may wonder what those seen when your blood is used by a recipient. I think it would encourage more people to donate, because it shows that you are making a difference and everything. So maybe it's like something that we can suggest to medic to do, and you never know, it might help. So, okay. A woman with 2 uteruses gave birth to twins less than a month after having a baby. When most people have a baby, they typically wait a little while before even thinking about having another child. But this wasn't an option for one woman in Bangladesh who unexpectedly gave birth to twins in March of 2019, less than a month after having another newborn. The highly unusual circumstances came about due to the fact that the woman has 2 uteruses, and both were able to successfully carry the 3 healthy children to term. However, the mother's doctor did admit, "We were very shocked and surprised. I have never observed something like this before." So, they had their family all at one time. A moonbow is a rainbow that happens at night. If a storm is passing and the sun starts shining, you might be lucky enough to spot a rainbow. But did you know that you can see something just as amazing at night? While they're incredibly unusual, moonbows or lunar rainbows are caused by the reflection, refraction, and dispersion of light, and tend to happen most often in places with waterfalls and mist. There also needs to be a near full moon for there to be enough light for you to see the moonbow. Bumblebees can fly higher than Mount Everest. If you thought it was impressive that humans can make it to the top of Mount Everest, you'll be stunned to find that bumblebees can make it to the summit too. Researchers who tracked 2 bees that were able to fly more than 29,525 feet, or 9,000 meters, which is higher than Everest, admitted that they were shocked to see how high they did fly. The Terminator script sold for $1. The Terminator, starring Arnold Schwarzenegger and Linda Hamilton, earned a worldwide total of $78.3 million in the box office in 1984. As it went on, the franchise took in over $1.4 billion. Not bad for a script that sold for a measly $1. And just on the side note, we got a new Terminator movie to look forward to. Before James Cameron became famous for directing blockbusters like Titanic, he was an unknown filmmaker who had an ambitious idea that became The Terminator. But in order to get his movie made, he handed over the rights to the script for a token amount on the terms that he was allowed to direct the movie. Despite the eventual success on the project, Cameron later admitted that he regrets the decision to sell such a valuable story for such a low amount, saying, "I wish I hadn't sold the rights for $1. If I had a time machine and I could only send back something the length of a tweet, it would be, don't sell." The tallest dog ever was a 7-foot Great Dane. Canines come in all shapes and sizes, but none were bigger than Zeus. The Great Dane from Otsego, Michigan. He took home the Guinness World Record in October 2011 for his unusually massive stature. At the time, he weighed 155 pounds and reached a jaw-dropping 7'4" when standing. Sadly, he only lived into the age of 5, but in his short life, this gentle giant Switzerland has quite a few pet-related laws, but one of the weirdest is that you cannot own only one guinea pig. These cute little creatures need social interaction to be happy. So owning a single guinea pig is considered abuse and is forbidden by Swiss law. Guinea pigs grow very attached to their guinea pig partners, and if one dies, the owner needs to get a new one quickly. In fact, there are guinea pig matchmaking agencies in Switzerland for this very reason. So if you have a guinea pig and you only have one, maybe you should think about getting another. Chewing gum stops you from crying when cutting an onion. We all know that chopping onions leads to many tears. That's because the chemicals in onions travel through the air, and when they hit your nasal cavity or eyes, it causes us to tear up. You may have tried goggles or lighting candles, but did you know that chewing gum helps? That's because the chomping encourages you to breathe through your mouth, so the onion chemicals won't make it to your nasal passages. 1/4 of all of your bones is located in your feet. There are 26 bones and 33 joints in each foot. That's 52 bones in both feet. Out of 206 total bones in your whole body, which is more than 25%. It may sound crazy at first, but think about it. Your feet support your weight and allow you to jump, run, and climb. Those bones and joints also allow your feet to absorb and release energy efficiently. It's one of the reasons humans can outrun any other animal in an endurance race. Movie trailers were originally shown after the movie. Movie trailers are a big part of the cinematic experience. Some people love them, and others show up 20 minutes after the film's start time to avoid them. But 20 minutes is not gonna get you through all the trailers anymore. But did you know they used to be shown after the feature film in the early 1900s? That's how they got the name trailers. But because many people leave when the feature film's credits started rolling, trailers started playing before the feature film began to reach the maximum number of eyeballs. That's why they're now called previews or coming attractions. A human could swim through a blue whale's veins. A blue whale is the largest living creature. It's even larger than most dinosaurs. The biggest blue whales can be over 100 feet in length and weigh more than 100 tons. Their hearts alone can weigh 1,300 pounds and are the size of a small car. Unsurprisingly, blue whales therefore have enormous arteries which pump blood through their massive hearts and into their vital organs. The arteries are so big that a full-size human could swim through them, although it's probably best not to try it. Crying makes you feel happier. They don't call it a good cry for nothing. Tears are your body's way of releasing intense emotions. They also contain stress hormones which leave the body through crying. Actually, studies suggest that crying stimulates production of endorphins, your body's natural painkiller, and feel-good hormones like oxytocin. In short, crying more will lead to smiling more. And if anyone ever tells you to stop crying, you can tell them to F off. Crying is a good thing for everyone, men and women. The electric chair was invented by a dentist. In 1881, Alfred Southwick witnessed a drunk man die quickly after touching a live electric generator. Southwick soon realized that electricity could be a quick and more humane alternative to hanging for executions, and thusly the electric chair was born and was first first used in 1890. Though it wasn't an initial success, a second jolt needed to be used. Southwick eventually worked out all the kinks. Viagra can make flowers stand up straight. Viagra not only helps male impotence, but it also extends the lifespan of cut flowers. In 1999, researchers discovered that just 1 milligram compared to the 50 milligrams usually taken by impotent men, dissolved into a vase of water, could make flowers stand up straight for as long as 1 week longer than they normally would. Viagra was tested on strawberries, legumes, broccoli, and other perishables, and the same results were found. Perhaps they should start marketing to florists and grocery stores. The tea bag was an accidental invention. In 1908, New York tea merchant Thomas Sullivan sent samples of tea leaves to some of his customers in small silken bags. Many of the recipients assumed that the bags were supposed to be used in the same way as the metal infusers, so they put the entire bag into the teapot rather than emptying out its contents. After such positive feedback from their happy accident, Sullivan designed initial tea bags for commercial production. In the 1920s, his sachets, made of gauze and later paper, included the string with the tag hanging over the side so the bag could be easily removed. Some things really do say the same. Queen Elizabeth II is a trained car mechanic. During World War II, the then 16-year-old Princess Elizabeth, heiress to the British throne, was eager to join the armed forces, but her father, King George VI, was wary. Eventually, he relented. She was commissioned as an honorary second subaltern in the Auxiliary Territorial Service. When she began training in 1945, at age 19 years, she became the first woman in the royal family to be a full-time active member in the women's service. She passed a military driving test, learned to read maps, and repaired engines. There is a famous photograph of her working on a vehicle, which is currently displayed in the International Museum of World War II in Massachusetts. The inventor of the Pringles can is now buried in one. In 1966, Frederick Barr developed an ingenious idea for Procter & Gamble to uniformly stack chips inside of a can instead of tossing them inside of a bag. Barr was so proud of his invention that he wanted to take it to the grave. Literally. He communicated his burial wishes to his family, and when he died at the age of 89, his children stopped at Walgreens on the way to the funeral home to buy his Pringles burial can. They did have one decision to make, though. My siblings and I briefly debated on what flavor to use. Bauer's older son, Larry, told Time magazine, but I said, look, we need to use the original. The fastest man in the world has scoliosis. You might assume that a man who can run as fast as Usain Bolt would be the embodiment of physical perfection, but it turns out Bolt has had his share of physical difficulties to overcome, including scoliosis. My spine's really curved bad, Bolt told ESPN magazine in 2011, but if I keep my core and my back strong, the scoliosis doesn't really bother me, so I don't have to worry about it as long as I work really hard. The majority of people in Iceland believe in elves. A 2007 University of Iceland survey found that 62% of Icelanders believe in real-life elves called the Huldafolk. In fact, in 2014, protesters claimed a proposed highway would destroy an elf church, which to many was just a gigantic rock. Eventually, the church was moved to a safe place so that it would not Norway's elf history dates back to the Viking era poems in the year 1000. To Icelanders, these elves are not only tiny figures who build toys for Santa, they actually look much more like humans and can range in size. Many believe that grave misfortune will befall those who build in elf territory, even though it cannot be seen, hence the church preservation. Bubble wrap was originally intended to be wallpaper. Bubble wrap was invented in 1957 by engineers Alfred Fielding and Mark Chavanez, who sealed two shower curtains together, creating a smattering of air bubbles, which they initially tried to sell as wallpaper. Then in 1960, they realized their product could be used for protection of packaging, and they founded Seal Air Corporation. When they showed their product to IBM, which had just launched its first mass-produced computers, they became the first big bubble wrap client. Sealed Air still exists today, creating both cryovac food packaging and, bubble wrap. Ohio DUI offenders must use yellow license plates. The standard Ohio license plate is a white with navy blue letters and numbers and a red border at the top. That is, of course, if you don't have multiple DUIs. Since 1967, Ohio has issued special yellow license plates with red characters to DUI offenders. As of 2004, these scarlet letter plates, or party plates, are mandatory for repeat DUI offenders, and whenever a driver's blood alcohol level is twice the legal limit. While there is a public shame that comes along with these license plates, it also helps police spot these vehicles when patrolling highways. This is another idea that I really like and wish other states would pick up on. So, that's just my opinion. We all like to party and everything, but when you drive drunk, you are not only endangering yourself, you're endangering other people. And I have had friends that's been killed by drunk drivers. So, sorry to end on such a downer note, but I hope you will come back and see my next episode. And I hope you enjoyed this episode. So, I hope to see you soon for another episode of Handlebar ASMR.